Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Readers of the Lost Art. And James, what's the name of your channel that this is going to?
It'll be live on Coxie's Making Videos.
And careful how you spell that, because you could get into trouble.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Can I just explain to viewers that I've just had a brilliant home-cooked fillet steak. I haven't drank a beer for a while, and I've got a Guinness and a Nigerian Guinness waiting as backup. So I'm in a very, very good mood that even these two clowns, I doubt, can ruin for me. But we will put this to the test.
We'll try our best, Paul.
So do you want to introduce yourselves? James, you and your channel, please.
Hello, my name's James Cox, and I am the leader of the valiant channel Coxie's Making Videos, which basically just whinges about the media, Hollywood, that kind of thing. And I've started a new venture recently as well called Coxie's Playing Video Games, which I actually uploaded my first video to tonight, which is a Metal Gear Solid Let's Play run through, which is over on my other channel.
Very nice.
I should be, but I'm not.
Well, that's true degeneracy when you lack the capability to feel ashamed of your own degeneracy.
Or you just accept it.
That's just called self-serving degeneracy.
Exactly.
Anyway, talking about self-serving degeneracy, would you like to introduce yourself, Stuart?
Yeah, I'm Stuart. I'm the official channel GIMP. I'm waiting for my GIMP starter pack to arrive from Ann Summers any moment. So tonight I've just got this lovely black number on. But the mouthpiece, a leather mask, and nipple thingies will be ready for next
That was
week.
much more information than I asked for. I've just had a meal. I did state this at the beginning. I do not need those mental images. So, Stuart, would you like to kick off by explaining why this is your all-time favourite book?
Yeah, do you want me to show you this? I'm going to put a slide up. It's I think probably the best line in literature.
Well,
I don't need to jump ahead in the discussion, but because I live in Wales, you know, all things sheep.
It makes sense to you.
and the whole book. So I want to start off on a highbrow note. So this is a question to both of you. Do you think that Santiago actively fiddled with his sheep?
well, he's often on his own with them.
Yeah, he's never stops talking about them. This is the reason for the question. He speaks
doesn't-
more
Yeah.
about sheep than your average Welshman. It's
He doesn't tend to think
ridiculous.
a lot of them as well.
Yeah, they're very, very odd. I'm not a conspiracy-minded person. But he learned, it's just the way it's phrased, gnostically, he learned a lot from the sheep.
Didn't want them
I
getting away
bet
with
he
some of the
did.
first couple of pages. Locking them into that old church.
So anyway, come on, expand upon your love of this book, Stuart.
I don't know where this love of this book came from. I don't know which person spread that rumor. I first read this book. Should we keep the sheep on the screen or yeah? I think James is getting a bit turned on. I think we better take the sheep off. Yeah, I read this book probably in about was it 2008, and yeah. I think it was a housemate at university who lent it to me and said, "Oh, this is the best book you ever read." And by that point, I was already really into counterculture stuff, like quite deep philosophy, existentialist stuff. And yeah, I read it, and I just thought it's like weird. It's a kid's book, very poor prose, and also like a confused book. I think it's been described as spiritualism light. But I think
I think you misheard.
Yeah.
I think it's called spiritualism shite.
I was just about to jump in with that one.
there's that aspect of it as well. But what just completely baffles me is it's why it's so popular. And I tried to play devil's advocate. I tried to put some points like in my notes why this could be, why this could be a helpful book to someone or why people could enjoy it. But yeah, I think I've got about 10 reasons why this is a bad book, and 2 reasons why it could be okay. But yeah, for me, I mean, it took me about an hour skim reading it through just before tonight. I mean, it's a very quick book to read if you skim through it, and I think the reason why you can skim through it is it's very little substance, like very, very little substance.
James, can I preface my question or contextualize it for you? Given that your wife actually likes this book, and you were also deemed suitable marriage material. What do you take from this?
I love my wife, and you'll never get me to go against that, Paul. No, I'm going to put it down to the fact that she's Portuguese, and the Portuguese are very protective of the Brazilians.
All right.
And so that's her get out of jail free card on this one, I think.
Right. And also, there's the potential. This is me scrabbling to defend it. You can hear my fingernails slipping. I'm wondering whether it's slightly less diuretic in Portuguese.
Yeah, well, I had the discussion with her after I read it, and I basically turned around and I said, "What is this shite? It's like the worst thing I've ever read." And she was like, "It's the greatest thing that's ever been read. What are you talking about?" Blah, blah, blah. And I said, "It's nonsense. There's just nothing to it. There's no substance in it, and it's devoid of meaning." And she was like, "Oh, it's lost in translation. Don't worry, it's lost in translation." And I was like, "Well, I don't speak Portuguese. I don't read it. So how am I supposed to know?"
What I find about, I genuinely don't mean to offend any Portuguese people, but I will now proceed to offend them. I always found Portuguese to be Spanish spoken with a golf ball in the mouth.
Oh,
Ouch.
you're treading a thin line there, sir.
No, it's not. It's not a pretty language.
Portuguese, I mean, I've said it to her before, so hopefully she won't slap me too hard if she sees this. It's crazy because they're the kind of languages, the sort of Latin languages, where it sounds like they're just absolutely going to kill each other, and really they're just talking about their day, or like, I'm just going down the shop. I'm sure you must come across.
German's worse for that, because like ich
Yeah,
liebe
kind of.
dich is I love
Yeah,
you,
but
and
that
it
just
sounds
sounds
like
sexy.
no, only in a basement. That is
yeah.
not a sexy sounding sentence. if you ask me. No, I knew it was an awful, truly awful book. You mentioned children's literature, Stu. I've got a genetic ASBO forbidding me having children, but if I'd have had a child who I found reading that, I would pack them off to an orphanage. I don't think childhood is an excuse for that book. It is so horrendous, and don't worry, people, we are going to get into the I was going to say the weeds of it, the beautiful lapidary prose that it isn't. And
I've got some howlers. Yeah, I've got about 20 odd quotes.
Yeah, I think my biggest problem with it is it starts. Well, actually, the one good thing I can say about it is the prologue is actually sets up the ideological evilness of the book right from the get-go. So for those not familiar with the book, he describes Santiago finding a book in which the myth of Narcissus is retold. And in this retold myth, the lake into which Narcissus looks weeps when Narcissus dies. And then he asks, "Why, O lake, are you weeping?" Because I often talk to lakes. And the lake replies, "I am crying because I used to be able to see myself in Narcissus's eyes." So basically, the Narcissus myth, truly understood, properly understood, is all about Narcissus not being aware that he's trapped in this narcissistic loop. He doesn't know it's his own reflection. So the Greeks weren't as stupid as Paul Coelho. They realized that that level of narcissism is not a good idea. He's taken that, gone to the school of not understanding, passed his school exams with flying colours, and then exacerbated the misunderstanding by going further within the narcissistic doom loop and making the original Narcissus story misunderstood to a further level that is yet more it's narcissism squared. And that, I think, the prologue actually fulfills its function perfectly, because it sets up the whole book's ethos right from the get-go, and he can't be accused of misleading anyone.
No, I agree completely, but I think it's also apparent in the foreword in the text that you sent over, because I don't know if you could pull it up. Can we pull it up, Stuart, or no?
Yeah, let's get it on stage. There we go.
We go to the foreword. He's even mentioning it in there where he's talking about, I kept going with the book because this character is me, and this character is you, and we're all this sort of like narcissistic tendency. We all have that tendency, and I was just like, I don't think everybody does actually.
So this bit here, he's talking about his vision for the book, and So the background to this book, if I understand, Paul, you I know you're clued up about this more than me, is that I can't remember his exact reason why he was doing the Camino de Santiago, this famous kind of pilgrimage, this walk in northern Spain, southern France into northern Spain. But he said he got the idea for this book why he was doing that pilgrimage. But from what I understand is he never actually finished the pilgrimage. He got the bus the last third of the way or something like that, which kind of sets up the guy like in a nutshell, really.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not going to explore national stereotypes in this instance. That would be wrong. I will not do it. Do not feed me the line, Stuart. Shame on you.
There we go. I mean, it's such waffle.
It is. And I even, if you go back up again, sorry.
Sorry before you do, just, you had that, it said, people ask me, where was it that you just had?
Down here.
Yeah, people continue to ask me if I knew The Alchemist would be such a huge success. That is the most passive-aggressive, arrogant way of pointing out it was a huge success.
Yeah.
But there's a bit even before that, though. It's like, even in the quotes, like the sort of, pulling from newspapers and saying, like, this is a great book. There was a few in there. And I thought,
there's pages and pages. Yeah, there's like, where is it? Is it before? Yeah, there's like 30 odd quotes or something, isn't it?
But some of them are like...
Here we go.
Are really...
Pages and pages. Is that Madonna? Does that say Madonna?
Yeah. Oh, God, there's one in there. A poke in the ribs from on high. Like, what's that all about? What were they reading when they said, oh, yeah, that's a good quote?
So my immediate question, I'm going to get serious for a second before I get deep into the Guinness. I'm genuinely puzzled because I went admittedly I didn't do it for a long time. I went online looking for reviews, and then they're all just idiot reviews. So then I thought, well, I'll specify the search and I'll look for negative reviews. And this is one that I found. So I'll just quickly read it.
It's on 2 slides, Paul. Just let me know when you want to switch.
Yeah. Gravity Rain is the Reddit user. And someone asked, why do some people not like The Alchemist? Great question. I often run into people who criticize the book without really knowing why. Also, part of my job is dramaturgy, and I learned to write with other published authors. Writing is now an integral part of my daily work. In the most artisanal sense of the term writing, meaning aligning words to create meaning, both in its syntax and its lexicon. Paulo Coelho is one of those miracles of insincere and uncontrolled consensus that few have the secret to. That's really funny, given the treasure hidden within the novel. Basically, it's stupidly light to the point where nothing has any impact. If you decide not to stop there and to dig into the meaning of his works, you find the flattest and most syrupy person possible. Something that sometimes happens in literature, except that in most other cases, this position of human limpet allows you to prove another idea than the one expressed by the aforementioned position. Can you go on? Paulo Coelho proves nothing through his work but his immaturity. I'm guilty of that. Both artistic and philosophical. But if that were the only problem, no one would have a legitimate reason to be angry. The real problem lies in the fact that Paulo Coelho has proven many times in his career that he is an intelligent and referenced man. I missed those instances, I must confess. Which means that he writes all this crap in full possession of his faculties. And that if he made an effort and developed a professional conscience, he could do better and at least try to advance literature, which is the unconscious or conscious goal of any self-respecting author. But he chose to take writing by the beat and make it a literary equivalent of homeopathy. 3/4 of the authors I know could have easily written this book and knowingly had the same career, but no one did, essentially out of honour. And the only bit of this review I disagree with is the next paragraph. If you liked it, know that it means absolutely nothing about you. That's not true. It means you need professional help. You have every right to consider that everything I have written above does not concern you. Well, you have the theoretical right, but it doesn't stop you being a plonker if you don't listen to what he said. And your relationship with literature belongs entirely to you. No. literature is a thing of beauty, and if you're incapable of understanding or appreciating it, and worse than that, promulgate bilge like The Alchemist, then that concerns everyone and human civilization. And you should not be affected by outside opinions. No, you should be the type of narcissist that reads this book about someone worse than Narcissus. Anyway, rant over.
Well, I couldn't agree more.
But so my question leading from all this is, to what extent are people, it's this horrible thing where people are scared of saying the emperor's got no clothes. There's very little upside to do what we are doing now because we're failed people. We don't have any price to pay for going against the consensus. But I guess if you're in the media or even online, people don't want to say what goes against the main current of opinion. But I can't believe that more people don't think it's an abysmal book.
No, I don't want to be mean, but I do think it's just.
Sorry to interrupt, James. Why don't you want to be mean?
Well, because I'm
Because
trying
to understand other people's worldviews.
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to be nice.
No, I'm trying to understand your worldview. I'm not, as someone who can only be mean, I'm trying to understand the motivation for not being mean.
I think that's a different conversation. I think it's the book is philosophy for people that don't know any better, and like I think you have to be on some level narcissistic, knowing that this is my wife's favorite book. I'm trying to tread on
This is. I just think this is wonderful foreplay for Valentine's night.
Well, indeed, but I just think it's. I just don't understand how. It must be my missus's nationality and their fondness for the Brazilians why she's so fond of it, because I just don't see how there's anything like intellectually interesting, philosophically interesting. It's a book that suffers from a need to be logical, but isn't very logical, and it makes so many assumptions and is so simplistic, but then constantly batters you over the head going, I made a point. Did you read the point? Did you understand the point? This is the point again, and I'm going to tell you in a slightly different way. And it's just so annoying. It's just an annoying read. And I read it from cover to cover, and it was bloody annoying. I was like, why am I reading this?
Well, James, capture that feeling and rotate it in your hands, and then understand that's my base level emotion when I wake up in the morning. And it only gets worse.
No, I feel your pain.
So, Stuart, defend it. Come on.
Yeah, well, I had to really think long and hard. So it could potentially serve as an entry point into deeper spiritual texts. It could. Parentheses. So the three main things he's drawing from is Jungian, Carl Jung, the psychotherapist, alchemy. But whereas Jung's take on alchemy is more about kind of developing the self to be more balanced, and historical alchemy had a physical aspect, turning base metal into gold. Some people said it was a code for turning humans into like a more balanced higher entity. But he kind of, we'll talk about it later, he kind of inverts a lot of Jungian stuff, and he misses out one of the key elements of Carl Jung's kind of psychoanalysis. They have Sufism, monadism in there, which is obviously, everything is one man, the very hippie, it was the, I think he's a Persian poet, Rumi.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I was thinking Coelho managed to turn monadism into gonadism.
Well, nice. He does have those two stones that he carries around, doesn't he? I did think when he was talking about the two magic stones.
For nothing.
The Artful Dodger over there.
Absolutely. And then he's also got like Christian mythicism and mystic elements of Christianity in there, this idea of the pilgrimage, which comes from his inspiration when he was doing the Camino de Santiago. So it's referencing real traditions. But the counter argument is that he does this in such a poor way, such a terrible way, to put it mildly, that he's not open with his sources. He's not saying, "Hey, this is where I got the ideas from." He's so narcissistic in himself. He's almost like, "Hey, this is all me. I've made it up." So like,
Yeah, the way
as a gate.
sorry again, sorry to interrupt,
Go
but
ahead.
the
Go
way
ahead.
the way I'd thought about it was it's Buddhism for window lickers. That's how because
Yeah.
it takes genuine spirituality, puts it through a how much money can I possibly make machine.
It flattens it. Yeah, it flattens it. It doesn't debase it. It just flattens it. It makes it, in a sense, just it strips away the important aspects of these texts, and then he's to add insult to injury, he's claiming it as his own, so to speak.
And I also love this the conceptual circularity where every sentence begins with an idea that then at the end of the sentence inverts the same idea, as if that's profound.
So I think you've said that in a sensible way of what I was trying to say. This is why I'm enjoying these kind of conversations. This is the second one, but being such a little brain talking to two big brains is quite nice. I wouldn't have been able to put it that way.
I think you overestimate us.
Oh, you're a lot bigger than me. I've got such a small head. Can you see? Look.
Wait till I finish the second beer and then see whether you can say that, James.
But I didn't use that kind of language. I don't really know what you meant. I wouldn't have known if I hadn't read this god awful book.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the original texts themselves. I mean, you could read like Rumi's poetry. You can buy, Introduction to Rumi, Introduction to Sufism, and you'll get a very clear, everyman reading of these texts, and it's not too hard to understand. But then when you encounter the texts themselves, they're so much better written. They're poetic. They've got metaphors in them, and they don't have this kind of air of narcissism in it. And
could I give some very specific? Because we're slagging it off, but I just want to start getting into the specifics. At the end of the foreword, he makes this impassioned thing that we need to build.
Get this up?
I think he says we need to build bridges, and if you sit down and listen to somebody else's story.
So I think right at the end.
I think it's the very last paragraph.
Yeah.
So even if my neighbor doesn't understand my religion or understand my politics, he can understand my story. If you can understand my story, then he's never far from me. Except the whole message of your book is to do your own thing and never be put off from doing your own thing, and leave your exotic Arab woman to wait for you, because that's what women do. And I've never been knowingly been accused of being a proto-feminist, but my God, even I thought that was troglodyte type attitude towards women.
Oh, it's terrible, yeah. It really is.
Yeah, there is always a chance for reconciliation, a chance that one day he and I will sit round a table together and put an end to our history of clashes. And on this day, he will tell me his story, and I will tell him mine for approximately 8 hours as to what a successful author I am, and how I managed to sell 65 million copies of my book. Oh,
it's crazy.
Terrible.
And I can I'm at risk of just going off on one, so I can say one more thing and then you two take over. But one of the things I've got to give him credit, living in a rural area. I think it's one of the most crucial bits of information in the whole book. When he goes into the abandoned church, he puts some wooden boards up because he quite portentously tells us that animals have a habit of straying. Now, I've lived quite a long time and I never knew that. So if nothing else, I thought sheep just sat next to you like a dog and they never went roaming whatsoever, ever.
I'm sure there's a passage in the book where he suggests that, though, isn't there? Like, they'll just do whatever he wants anyway.
That's why I suspect that he's a bit of a sheep fiddler.
That's it. That's it. It's something that literally the first line of the book that only occurred to me today, and I've tried to skim read it again through. Sorry to jump ahead if we're still.
Go for it.
It's basically the first line, the very first line of the book. And this is, if you could scroll down for me.
Yeah, I'm going to get it up. Just wait till I...
Faster, Stuart. Faster.
Quick, boy.
I'm scrolling. There we go.
He's going at the speed of the average Coelho fan.
That's it.
I'm going at the speed of our Proust podcast.
There we go. So, the very first line, the boy's name was Santiago. It's been doing my head in this afternoon because I've been trying to find another instance where he mentions the boy's name.
Just the boy.
It's just the boy, isn't it? And then,
Yeah.
but this is what he does throughout the whole bloody thing. It's like he introduces characters like on a whirlwind, like they're just in. There's no like, this is a person that you might care about. It's like this person's in, and then some of them are just gone instantly as well.
Yeah, because they're supposed to just be archetypes, mysterious archetypes, aren't they?
But it's but
popping
it's
in and out.
There's no substance. I mean, I'm, you know, a lowly little brain, like I say. But it just for me, it was just so annoying that you introduce a character on the first page, his name, and then we just never see the name again. It just was weird. He falls in love with a woman, never tells her his name.
Yeah,
But I saw some modern relevance to this, 'cause I read the first sentences. The boy's name was Keir Starmer. He had no substance. He did not dream, and he spent his life hunting for treasure.
I read the first sentences. The boy's name was Santiago. Dusk was falling as the boy arrived. You know when you start typing an email and you leave the caps lock on and you're like, oh fuck, shit, better turn it off. And this publishing agent just thought that it was supposed to be like that.
Yeah. Why did they do that?
Stylistic choice, yeah, or an accident, yeah. But
Pure accident.
Proves that he isn't.
No, Santiago himself as a character. As I'm reading the book, there's like very old kind of like 60s, 70s kind of sickly sweet Disney live action films when you have like the all American boy, Boy Scout kind of type boy, and he's like, gee whiz, let's go on an adventure, like Mickey Mouse voice. The whole way through the novel, I hear Santiago in that voice. Oh wow, this is amazing. Oh, I found the Alchemist. Hey, there he is. Gee, I'm a real boy now. Gee whiz, look at all that gold.
This just reminded me of the Michael Jackson documentary.
Shaman Fatima.
My favorite.
Where's my sheep? Where's my glove? I don't need no glove. But yeah, from that moment on, from the first page, I'm just like, oh man, this guy sounds like Mickey Mouse or some like 70s American teenager, good old teenager. So it spoilt it for me. I mean, from then
We've lost Paul.
Don't mind me.
Compose. Anyway, James, over to you.
Throw me in. Okay. So Michael Jackson aside.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to blast through the first. The thing that there's nothing really that if we want to move on, we move on. But there's another thing that I found reading this novel is, don't hold it against me, but I used to work in marketing, and we used this old AI when it first sort of came out called Jasper AI, and you used to be able to,
I remember that.
So and it was sold as, or marketed as, it'll write anything for you, anything from like a novel to like a blue paper or white paper or whatever. Yeah. And what we found is using it was god awful. Like you couldn't trust it to do anything. It was worse than ChatGPT by a long way. And what it would do is it would work on credits. It would get so far, like if you could literally say, write me a novel about a boy called San Diego who wakes up in a church, and it would just batter through all of this.
Just to jump in very quickly, James, this actually does read like it was written on ChatGPT, the whole book.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Paulo Coelho was a time traveler. He went to the future to write the book in order to make money in the past.
Honestly, when you sent this to me, I was reading through it, and I sent you an email in the week, didn't I? Saying, I can see, I mean, I'm like 30 pages in, I can see why you've asked me to read this, because I thought I was going to get to the end, and I was going to read, this was the first book written by AI. Literally, that's what I thought, because I knew nothing about this.
It feels like it, yeah.
There's little bits, like the little breaks in this text, which I need to look through my missus' version.
It's full of M dashes. It's a giveaway.
Yeah. And it's like, that's AI. That's what AI does.
Right, but this is why I'm convinced. I've argued in different fora for ages that we're basically now living in a post-literate time. And part of my proof that we're living in a post-literate age is that any sentient adult could find this a good book. And not only do random sentient adults find this a good book, 65 million at least bought the damn thing. So what does that tell you about the state of literacy?
Well, it's about sheep, and sheep bought it, obviously.
Yeah, he actually says at one point, I learnt more from sheep than books. And that's the one line. That is a profound line in this book.
But there's actually some really deep kind of like meta commentary in it. If I can just, I'll just search for a second. If you have... Here we go. Let's see if I can. Oh, I keep going to the wrong speed. There we go. So as you said before, James, it's like very simple. People come and go, and we're not really introducing it to really spend any time on develop with the characters. And he's even like kind of referencing that in the text. And there's another one. It says, I can't believe this is actually in the book. Here we go. So it's almost like so there's almost like an in joke in there, like it is like some kind of AI program that's like taking the proverbial Michael in a way.
But it's even in the way, you know, like the personal legend, which are two words that I now detest utterly.
And he capitalizes
yeah.
it, like personal
Oh my
legend.
God. And it just becomes two words that are like electroshock almost. It just hurts every time you read it. Personal legend. And that sounds like someone typed in, write me a book about a boy that wakes up in a church and goes on his own personal legend. And so the AI literally goes, I'm going to reference personal legend. That's what it feels like every time.
Yeah,
but that's
and it works like in it. Go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say that's the zeitgeisty element of it, isn't it? That in an age of influencers, that is actually everyone wants to be a personal legend.
Yeah, toxic positivity.
Yeah, it's why have I? Is it Hyung Chul Han?
Byung
Chung-
no, Han Byung Chul.
it's Hung-
Byung Chul Han. well hung, Bob.
Got deja vu here.
No, but this is me pontificating
twister.
about idiots who can't read, and I'm pathologically incapable of remembering a Korean man's name.
Just call him Han. Han.
Professor Han.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like his stuff, isn't it? Where he's basically the whole influencer type mentality, but this personal legend that you have to turn your personal experience, and people need to follow you.
Yep.
I can't. It's the low bar of expectations in a social media world when you look at the nature of some of the influencers. But that's the zeitgeist this book absolutely feeds into.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those are those 3-line breaks that just appear, that just scream AI to anyone that's, you know, in the ChatGPT.
Absolutely. But it's so materialistic. I mean, we can talk about the epilogue later, because I mean, the epilogue to me is one of the most hysterically funny thing. Apparently, in the original Portuguese version, there was no epilogue. So there was one redeemable feature in the original Portuguese version, that he does end the novel in the same way as a kind of a alchemical process was what was understood historically or philosophically, as in personal transformation is not material. He does end that in the correct way, but then the epilogue, he just adds on this, and the boy went home and gee whiz, he got that gold, and then Fatima was waiting, and it's like, like, yeah, you get a physical reward at the end of it, which completely undermines his references, his inspirations.
Yeah, and it's that whole, he woke up and it was all a dream. That's what I get from this. It's like it starts, it ends in the same place it starts, which is all like, you know, okay. And I almost said I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but just read it; it'll ruin it for you.
But even on this, I might embarrass myself by misunderstanding, but I think Coelho's secret is to be so substanceless that he's eminently misinterpretable. But it's basically his father, because I skim read it, but his father basically tells him, if you stay where you are, you travel the world by all means, but basically wherever you go, you don't get that much more than if you just stayed where you are.
Yeah. Which
is ultimately the whole book. He ends back where he started anyway. So of course it's nice to go and see a few new sites, but it struck me it's also the tourist mentality. The number of people who have online profiles who basically all they talk about are the places they've been to as a substitute for an actual personality.
Yeah.
And maybe this is self-defensive because I hardly leave the house these days. But as someone who did travel quite a lot in the past for various reasons, very, very rarely, I've always hated any type of tourism. So I've always tended to go somewhere with a local person and stay there at least a month. or I lived in America for 18 months in total. But I've always hated this idea of tourism. And that also seems to be the mentality behind the book. He's going on this personal legend stroke, and it's dressed up as he's staying in a camel caravan, where you can just see the type of person reading the book will be in a Hyatt hotel.
Yeah, in Dubai on one of those like desert trips with the Instagram, iPhone, and things like that.
Yeah, so it's this projected.
Where's he going as well? Where's he traveling to?
And also the people so there's a huge online interest in the concept of narcissism. And I'm fascinated. This is just me making stuff up as I tend to do, but I think there'd be a very high correlation between the number of people interested in narcissism and the number of people who are huge fans of this book, despite the fact it's one of the most narcissistic books I've ever read. Yeah, but yet people who spend all their time listening to theories about narcissism can't join up the dots.
See, when you say that, it makes me really paranoid, because I'm like, am I a narcissist? But I think the destination of the whole book, where he's going to, actually adds into what you're saying, because he's going to the pyramids practically to rob them. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's told, go and dig at the pyramids and you'll find a load of treasure. Yeah. So it's like, go to a mystic place which is full of, spirituality maybe, or whatever, or just a historically important place. Go there for a completely selfish reason, and then immediately come back.
Sorry to go off on a complete tangent, but what's that song about? A caravan, like an Arab man.
Caravan of Love? Stand up.
No, it's
not heard that one.
It's a more classic. I hope someone in the comments mentions it. It's got really bad rhyming. Like a caravan with an Arab man. It's an awful song. It'll come back to me. Something if you can. That's part of the lyrics. Oh, I can't remember.
If you can.
But it's an awful song, and this has no significance other than that was playing in my mind the whole time I read about the camel caravan. So that's nice. It's basically being trapped on a bus with someone telling you about the song that's in their head.
Yeah.
Not my most insightful comment, I will grant. Get here if you can is part of the lyric.
I have to fight get here if you can on the caravan.
I'm going to look for it now. Man.
That does sound
Get Here, thank you so much. Sonny Teller, Get Here by Alita Adams. Thank you. Oh, that is such relief.
Put it on, Alita Adams, I found it. Yeah. It is Get Here lyric.
Read the lyrics then. Go on.
I can get the lyrics up, yeah.
Do we get done for copyright?
I think you could.
You can reach me by railway. You can reach me by trailway. You can reach me on an aeroplane. You can reach me with your mind. I've never heard it in my life, so this could be the tune, or it could not be.
No, it is, and that is it's also the lyrics are as inane and banal as The Alchemist. So it's the perfect match in my head. I was like in a sterile elevator reading this book mentally, and that was playing in the elevator for the whole reading.
Nice.
Oh, Alita Adams, shame on you.
On that note.
So,
another sheep question, because I'm in Wales.
Yeah, go ahead.
He points out a shepherd always takes his chances with wolves and drought, and that's why being a shepherd is exciting. I would have thought, sorry to be pedantic and borderline autistic, but surely taking a chance with a drought, whether you found out you'd lost the chance, would take quite an extended period of time, being the definition of a drought.
And also
I don't see how evading or suffering a drought can be exciting, because it's a long, drawn-out process.
But also, outside of Wales, when you think about sheep, you think about wolves. Shepherds wouldn't take a chance with wolves. They'd avoid the wolves. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah, but you could choose somewhere thinking this has a slight chance of wolves, but it's better pasture. I can vaguely give him that one.
Really?
But how taking a chance with a drought can be exciting. It's,
a risk
beyond
taker.
me. I just think excitement surely implies short-termism.
But the way he says it, it's like the shepherd takes a risk with wolves and drought. It's literally that literal, isn't it? Literally literal. That he basically says a shepherd takes risks with wolves and drought. I think you added poetry to it, Paul. I think it really is as simple as like. Have you got the quote there?
I tried to search for it actually.
Because it hit me when I read it. I was like, but shepherds don't do that. They wouldn't do that. Why would they do that?
Yeah, I was thinking the basic point I'm making is even within his own imagery and metaphors, the internal logic is completely skewed.
What imagery and what metaphors? It's like it's so.
Maybe try wolves.
It's so it's so devoid of metaphors. It's just. There we go. Found it.
Always takes his chances with wolves. I suppose he's saying
chances with wolves.
Chances with wolves.
Yeah, you see what he did there.
Yeah.
Glad somebody did.
Another trick the boy thought. He decided to take a chance.
Take a chance on me with the wolves and droughts. Baby, that's what it's about. Paulo Coelho's about. Come on, James, you've got the karaoke mic.
I'm trying. I can't remember the bloody words I was trying to find. In the back of my... All I could think of was, take a chance with wolves.
Ooh, I do believe I'm getting the vapors.
Take a chance on wolves with a bit of drought. And that's what a shepherd's life is all about.
Fatima, help me out.
Yeah.
Readers of the Lost Art, home of high-level literary analysis.
Talking about high-level literary analysis, I've got some absolute cracking lines. I'm going to bring some up now. And let me copy and paste so we can get them on the screen for our lovely viewers. Why are you called the Alchemist? Because that's what I am. And actually, the next...
Go on.
The next one where I actually, as I was skim reading the book, I read it very fast and I actually read something else. I actually read it as the boy wanted to grab Fatima's jugs.
Why not? I mean, he wouldn't put it past him because this book is full of just like perving on women.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I mean, he's a bit of a horny devil, isn't he? But then it's just.
Can I just sorry to interrupt, but Genesee Ben in the comments has said, "Can James and Stuart switch mic levels?" Could I just point out to everyone that James is a professional person who works in media and technology?
Well, I normally use this one, but for some reason,
so why did you switch, you plonker?
It's broke.
It's a broken one.
All right.
So I've got to use this one from my old band days.
All right, but I agree with Genesee Ben that we need to publicly shame you.
Do I? Yeah. No, please do. I like it. Is that better if I stay there? No.
It's a bit quiet.
Is that?
You
better?
had it working at one point.
Is that better?
That's a lot better.
That's
okay.
Good, yeah,
I thought it was too loud.
I'll keep this you're very quietly spoken anyway. You're a white Barry White, so you tend to speak quite low but not too loudly.
I see.
You don't have my Scouse high levels of dolphin bothering pitch.
True. I'll just try and speak in my lowest baritone possible.
I'm all the talk of sheep now in your voice. It's setting me off.
Come to me, Betty.
Betty.
I was trying to think of a sheep's name, but I couldn't think it was Betty. Anyway, moving on.
Big Agnes.
Oh.
The prize heifer. Anyway. Oh. Paul, I just made myself corpse now. That was. Oh.
Yeah, the book about narcissism. You made yourself laugh. You narcissist.
Would you like me to read the lines? I'll do it in my best Barry White.
Yeah, can you read these terrible lines, James?
I can. I have to lean forward. The
Yeah,
horizon was tinged with red, and suddenly the sun appeared. I'll try and add some.
Yeah, that's so
Some
much
drama-
better than
some drama
Stuart's
to it.
adenoidal.
The horizon was tint.
No, I'm joking, Stu. I'm not gonna...
No, that's exactly what it sounded like. And the final weird, crazy line I've got. Let me just copy and paste this. There we go.
Sit down. We'll have something to drink. And eat these hawks, said the alchemist.
When I was reading the book, I just had this image of just two guys in the desert with these like a bird of prey.
No, like a
cooking on the
KFC
spit.
bargain bucket.
Yeah, so like
The
some
hawk
kind of like
special.
yeah.
Three
your
hawk,
accent leads it-
three
leads-
hawk pieces per person.
I think the Scouse would lend better to that sentence. Try it, Paul. Go on.
Sit down. We'll have something to drink and eat these hawks.
A can of coke and a curly whirly.
Couple of bevies and a seagull.
Yeah, that's it. That's definitely it.
There's a Monty Python sketch, isn't there, with John Cleese as an usherette at a cinema. It's a seagull,
Albatross.
not albatross.
Albatross.
Come and
Yeah.
get your albatross.
That's it.
Oh,
What about the casual racism in this novel? He's got a thing for gypsies and Arabs, hasn't he?
He does. He does, actually, now that you say that, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna get one quote up.
Should have had that cued. Oh,
Let's have a look.
can't drop the racism card and then not have it. Oh, there we go.
There we go. These bloody infidels.
The infidels had an evil look about them. My darling. Go on.
And he
it
goes-
is true, isn't it, that what you call it? Bill Clinton had a, or was it? No, it wasn't Bill Clinton, was it? Be careful what I say about him. But Obama had a copy. He was seen in public with a copy.
Of The Alchemist.
He was,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I'm sure he said it was one of his favorite books.
What? Yeah.
Ugh.
Let's not make a
I'm gonna
comment.
find it. Let's see if I can find when he said that. Obama. Here it comes.
Do you want me to do the line while we're waiting?
You can do the line, James. Yeah.
People said that gypsies spent their lives tricking others. It was also said that they had a pact with the devil.
Apart from that, wonderful people.
Yeah, they're lovely.
But he's even in the epilogue at the end. He's even going on about gypsies, isn't he? He's like saying, "Oh, gypsies, them gypsies. They've got caravans and they move around a lot." He actually says it. It's like it's crazy. Mm.
Doesn't he also? There's like it's like a Tourette's phrase all the way through the book. Maktub.
That's
Basically, it is
Yeah,
written.
yeah. It is written.
Maktub.
Yeah.
Maktub.
But I mean, Coelho's use of maktub it's one of these things where he takes I guess like a cherished concept in Islamic thought and he flattens it.
Yeah, can I get?
So
I've just got my own rough notes, so forgive me. You don't have to look for them. But he had epic quotes like, it's not even so much the atrocious, just boring language. It's the concept behind it. This is what I meant earlier about circularity. Making a decision was only the beginning of things. It tends to work that way, Paolo.
Yeah.
The closer one gets to realizing his personal legend, the more that personal legend becomes his true reason for being. The
You hit me
more,
with it twice then. Oh, personal
Yeah.
legend. Ugh.
the more you find your true reason for being, the closer you are to your personal legend. See, I can do it.
And again.
It's the most banal, circular, tautological mode of writing you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about ChatGPT, I'm going to go on ChatGPT now and I'm going to ask it, hey, ChatGPT, can you give me 5 circular Paulo Coelho type sentences?
I thought you were going to say, can you write me a novel
Can you write-
about
yeah,
a personal legend?
Let's see what it comes up with.
Let's make a bestseller.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I also seems to have this bugbear that the worst possible thing in the world could be each day is the same or similar.
Yeah.
And he needs, again, it's the zeitgeist. He seems to need
He needs
ADHD levels of
entertainment.
constant stimulation. I've spent my life trying to make sure that each day is as indistinguishable from the next as is humanly possible. And that to me is nirvana. So I appreciate I'm maybe not the target audience for the book, but what's this thing about everything has to be different every single day?
Yeah, he gets very bored, doesn't he? He needs novelty in everything he does. Are we ready? So, Paulo Coelho, written by ChatGPT. If you find yourself lost, it is only because you have not yet arrived at the place where you are. The desert is dry because it lacks the wetness of the rain. And the rain and the rain falls only because the desert is not yet wet enough to be a lake. To find the gold, one must first realize that the gold was already within you. Therefore, the search for gold is the only way to discover that searching was unnecessary.
Can I share something very personal? And I wouldn't if I hadn't already had 2 drinks. But talking about gold within you, I once swallowed a gold filling, and it didn't reappear, so I got measured up for a new one. But I phoned it, then suddenly reappeared, and I phoned the dentist, and it was I could hear the receptionist. It was a ramshackle dentistry in Didsbury in Manchester, and I could hear the receptionist shouting, "He's found that gold filling he swallowed," and the dentist shouting back, "It's too bloody late." But it was just the indignity of telling them I found the gold filling I accidentally swallowed. So gold, my point being, serious point being, gold does lie within people sometimes.
It does, yeah. Until the next bowel movement, and then it lies without.
No, I was thinking, I was trying to say something clever about you can turn gold into porcelain.
That'd be a great party
I am the
trick.
true alchemist.
Yeah. Right. Should we go on to the epilogue then? This unnecessary tagged on ending.
Yeah.
Because I think it's worse than the actual book. I mean, it's so. I mean,
so this constant while you're looking for it, this constant line of when you want something, all the universe conspires to help you achieve it.
Yeah.
So why isn't Sydney Sweeney in North Wales? If that was true, am I being too literal-minded?
No, that's a very good point.
No one's wanted that in human history more than me. So why hasn't it happened?
Well, you need to go on a journey, Paul. Have you been to Egypt yet? You need to have a dream.
I've been to Rill.
That's a journey in itself.
We should write a book about me going to Rill to get the secret of going out with Sydney Sweeney. And she's doing a film promotion on Rill seafront, and we bump into each other.
Paul goes to the seaside, a pop-up picture book.
Now that's something that I think I'd be interested in working on.
Let's get speaking to our literary agents. So yeah, he gets to the end, he finds his treasure, and he realizes that he should have just stayed at home, and it was there all along. Yeah. And then we have this epilogue where he goes away home, and it's almost like we can imagine in our minds that he's learned his lesson, and he's found something very magical, and he's found something very spiritual. But then there's this tagged on ending of, he goes home and he finds the gold coins, and he's very rich, and he gets a physical reward for this journey, and it kind of undermines the whole philosophical, spiritual founding of the book.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's not a lot else to say, is there, really?
There's nothing else to say.
James, you lost me with the complexity of your response.
Well, The text speaks for itself, Paul. What do you want me to say?
Absolutely.
Byung-Chul Han says there's an excess of positivity. Not in James's house.
Who's this?
What is that?
Yeah, what is this down here?
If it's a Rorschach ink block test, I've just failed it.
What's this guy doing here? I don't know. A bit dirty, these drawings.
He's having a personal legend, I think.
Yeah, this guy's watching. But
Where
what
did
is
you
it?
find that?
It's in the book. It's the illustrations in the PDF copy I have. It looks like some sort of Terry Gilliam drawing. We're talking Monty Python. It's the guy with the, it is the original Butthead from Beavis and Butthead. And something's going on here. I don't know. I'm coming, Fatima.
Yeah, I wanted James to read that.
I'm coming, Fatima. He said.
I'm coming.
I'm having a Lucasade. It's not quite as exciting.
We have done a service to humanity, to our viewers, for, like I said, foreplay for Valentine's
For Valentine's Day. Yeah.
The boy smiled. It was the first time she had done that.
He's got a weird thing about wind as well.
Yeah, it's all the dates.
Yeah.
It's all the dates in the desert.
Definitely.
So the
Lots
chickpeas
of on that date wind.
Yeah.
Too much fiber.
The boy who controlled the wind, I didn't think it was that big a deal.
No. Just hold it in. Hold it in until no one's around.
It's basic potty training.
It really is, yeah. I had something really, really clever to say about the turn into the wind story, but I think it would just be lost at this point.
I've worked really hard to make something of this channel. And in 1 hour, you two numpties ruin everything.
That's why we're here, Paul. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
It does make me think. It does make me value other literature. Because being the pompous, person I am, I so rarely ever read this type of stuff. But then there's the sad part that people don't realize there's better. If honestly people think this is good, I can't get my head around that and how. I don't know. I think I've used this example in the past, but it's like if you look at, let's pick on America because it's easy, but it's the plague of ultra processed food and the obesity crisis. And I always think of this type of literature as the worst type of Krispy Kreme donut type ultra processed rubbish. And guess what? There is a mental equivalent to the physical obesity epidemic. So what will be the literary Ozempic?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Well, it's not.
I think
it evinces no expanded response from you two. It was a bad
It's
rhetorical
difficult,
question.
isn't it? Because if you're gonna ask me if there's like an antidote to the Alchemist, it's kind of like when we were talking about last week with the whole AI thing. It's like if you like this kind of stuff, if you're happy to let AI do all your thinking for you, then there really isn't much coming back from that, is there? If you're going to outsource everything, there's not really anything that anyone can do to really convince you until you're like a drug addict. You hit that rock bottom and you go, I'm going to try something different, or I'm going to try to come back in some way. If you think The Alchemist is the greatest novel you've ever written, well then fair play to you. But for me, it's not.
Yeah, but I don't think what you're not taking fully into account is, again, maybe I'm stretching a bit like physical stretch marks, but I'm stretching the physical analogy too much, because I'm convinced that when you have a lot of exercise, and it'd be interesting, anyone with actual physiological knowledge as opposed to me just riffing, But it strikes me that if in your teenage or your young years you've had exercise regime, even if you let yourself go to pot later on in life, you've got this core strength and you've got this, you've looked after yourself. Whereas if you've never had the core basis of physical fitness, I just think it's incredibly difficult to later on in life, when your body's in a complete mess, turn it around. And likewise with literature, if you haven't, it's never too late to pick up a good book, but if there's so much preparation required to make the most of good literature, and I think it's unrealistic to think 40, 50-year-old people are suddenly going to say, right, I'm going to read a great classic book starting from a standstill. And that's what saddens me.
You don't... Yeah, I mean, either way you look at it, it's sad. Because if this is someone's actual favourite book... Because my missus says it is, but I know it isn't really. I think she's just defended it because it's Portuguese, as I've said. But I think if this is someone's actual favourite book, then they are longing to go on the kind of quest that is talked about in the personal legend thing. Either you're just really into travelling and you see yourself in this book because you think, I've always wanted to travel, and maybe I did. Which, is definitely, for someone like my missus, is true because, she was a traveller in her youth. But I just can't see how this is an intellectually stimulating book. And, I've got an interest in philosophy. I like pretending that I'm clever enough to understand most of it, or any of it. But even I could look at something like this and go, this is nonsense. This is so base level that it's just not worth paying much attention to. And there surely must be something that is.
Well, can I throw this idea at you? Because I've argued with people in the past about whether... I think there's a quote, if I can dredge it up from a memory I've used before, but it's Hannah Arendt. I think it was from an essay called Society and Culture. And she said, a great work of art or literature can survive centuries of oblivion and neglect, but it's an open question as to whether it can survive an entertaining version of what it has to say. And that would lead me, I agree with Hannah Arendt. I think sometimes there's a constant pressure in our society to make things more accessible. And this strikes me as part of that ethos. Let's make philosophy and reading more accessible to people. And that can only be a good thing. So I'm convinced there are people out there saying, well, it's much better people read this than nothing at all. And for someone who spent their life trying to encourage people to read, you might be surprised to hear, I would honestly prefer a person never read a book in their life rather than having actually read this.
They read this one. There's a film in production, apparently. I think it's Netflix from memory. Or one of the streaming platforms is funding it.
What, The Alchemist?
Yeah.
If Alita Adams isn't the song track, I'll be absolutely devastated.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it now.
Either that or Walk Like an Egyptian. On the way to the pyramid.
Yeah, it's... I couldn't imagine what a literal... Well, it would be a literal production. I mean, there'd be no ambiguity in it, and there'd be no metaphor. It will just be Santiago, the shepherd boy, going on an adventure, having a romantic relationship with Fatima. There'll be some CGI of the alchemist doing things. He'll turn into the wind, and then he'll find the gold at the end, and him and Fatima will live happily ever after. And it's just the thought
who would be the best voice for Santiago?
Me.
Yeah, who would be Santiago?
Assuming James wasn't available because of his schedule. No.
Who could play? I would think, who could play? Timothy Chalamet, I think, would make a good Santiago.
Oh, God, really?
No.
Good anything?
I
liked him as Henry V. I thought he was good in that.
I'm seeing
I couldn't even... The problem with Hollywood at the minute is it's like, who's a Hollywood star? The Hollywood star thing is done. It's dead. And so it'll be anyone off the street that they can find.
No, he'll be out of the job soon. So I would love Keir Starmer to narrate the audiobook.
Yes. Who could talk like this?
Can you imagine?
The Alchemist by Keir Starmer.
Pull up some of those quotes and I'll try and do my
It wasn't my fault. It was Fatima's.
Oh, that would be a great adaptation. Keir Starmer as Santiago, Angela Rayner as Fatima, wearing like a black wig. the exact no Zara Sultana as Fatima and Angela Rayner as
Angela Rayner,
the baker's daughter.
No, I was going to say something about camels, but I won't.
Nigel Farage is the Englishman.
Yeah. No.
Trying to learn how it all works.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be watching that when it comes out.
Right, have you got any more little segments? Because I think we've talked ourselves to Coelho's defeated us. I actually think Coelho's defeated us.
Yeah.
I honestly thought I'd be able to talk for hours about this, and I just feel Le Petit Mort has set in.
It has, yeah. I think we peaked too soon. I mean, the question comes down to, I think you just said before, Paul, I think on a deeper level, you say that you would rather people not read this book than read without literature. Does it serve as a gateway into more advanced philosophical text? That's the thing I've been mulling over, is like, would people read this and think, this is good, I want something deeper, or would they just read it and think, oh yeah, my personal legend, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week now. I'm going to work harder at work. I'm going to sell more crystal glasses. Yeah, I'm going to build a glass cabinet and impress my boss. And
well, can I put it in this way, just to keep with the physical analogy? If some tubblard like me went to a local gym and did a desultory 5 minutes on an exercise bike at about 3 miles an hour, and then said to a trainer, "Am I getting fitter?" that it's much easier in our society for that person to say, "You big tub of lard, no, you're not getting fitter. You need to eat a hell of a lot less, not drink Nigerian Guinness, and you actually need to get those pedals working. Otherwise, there is no point." Because guess what? Exercise, diet, all these things need working on. Whereas if I've seen adults on the train reading Harry Potter, and I just want to grab someone's laptop and hit them over the head. I just think it really does wind me up, because I'd rather that is an adult reading Harry Potter. It just doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't see the justification, and I don't see, it's the height of laziness. It's like spending a fortune. Well, it's not, because it doesn't cost anything. But I'm trying to think of the physical equivalent. It's like going to a gym maybe and only staying in the sauna.
Yeah.
It'll do you a minimal amount of good, or jacuzzi. Just sit in the jacuzzi instead of being in the gym. Well, technically you have, but
yeah, is that not the problem with this personal legend?
What are you talking about?
What'd you say, James? I know that.
That's my gym routine. What are you talking about?
No, so
I was going to say, I will tell you what I'm reading at the minute.
No, go ahead.
I'm rereading The Sword and the Stone. I haven't read it since I was a kid.
Oh, no, nice.
Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe there's an element of people are searching for nostalgia.
That's
because
definitely
the
true.
times we live in are so, at the moment, just, depressing. People look for some type of memory of the past where things were better.
I think that's definitely true. Definitely true. But also, it's the first book I've read because I just haven't had time. My brain's just not been in the place to read. First book I've read in nearly a year. The last one being the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So I'm all about that adolescent literature. No,
I appreciate. I'm not the norm in many ways, but also my opinion's not standard.
It's not.
But you get the inconsistency, and people are very. We live in a semi-fascistic regime when it comes to people's fitness. Yeah. No one bats an eyelid if someone. Well, actually, that's changed, hasn't it? Because the whole body positive movement. But generally, people who aren't mentally ill are very capable of pointing to the difference between an athletic specimen of a person and a tub of lard. The difference is stark. And in order to get a finely chiseled body, the amount of effort you have to put in is obvious to most people. But I think in our society, there is a tendency to think... I've actually heard a fellow academic years and years ago argue that everyone's basically the same intelligence. And there aren't, IQ differences between people. It's just, circumstances and upbringing. And I'm just thinking that's errant nonsense.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's a combination of nature and nurture, but whatever intelligence you've been given, you need to really work on it to see benefits. And again, just to repeat myself, In an exercise environment, no one would bat an eyelid with that statement. The minute you expect it in a more intellectual context, people are triggered.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're also, you have to take into consideration lifestyle as well. I mean, my job in particular, it's not the kind of job that, it is. I suppose any job is, but I think the sort of modern day workplace and the sort of working from home nature as well is that people work a lot longer than they're, regulated to, if they're people like me. And other people are completely the other way, where they don't work at all. But I think either way, but you're either not given the time to allow yourself to enjoy reading, or reading is such get me from A to B so I can get on with what I need to get done, as in an email or a headline, because I haven't got time to read an article. I think the problem is that the modern world is that pressure box, if that's a word.
Right, could I make 2 points to that? One is there's the practical element of time. And again, sorry to bang on it, but I just want to try and develop the metaphor, lift up its tail and bugger it to death type of thing. But the idea, sorry, that was a random image.
I was going to say, please do that, please do.
No, but
it's a Nigerian Guinness.
If you're going to the gym, how many times? I need to ask someone who's ever been to a gym. I haven't.
I've been twice in the last fortnight.
Right, but non-tub of lards. A chiseled, no offense, James, but a chiseled
tub of
someone
lard
who's
away.
genuinely fit, how many times a week would they go to the gym? Or if not the gym, what percentage of their week? I would guess you'd have to measure in hours the amount of exercise they'd have to do to be genuinely fit. So if that's true, they're finding the time. You don't see busy executives not going for a jog. And my point would be, but you don't see the mental equivalent is not given any credence, which is fine. But then simultaneously, we live in a society that's constantly complaining mental health has never been worse. Everyone's burnt out. Everyone's stressed. Everyone's seeking self-help influences to cure their mental problems. And yet they do no mental fitness work on themselves, hardly at all. And I've developed this partially on my channel. Chris Williamson, who's all about productivity and all about achievement, he releases a video in October where he's in Mexico getting blood transfusions because he's completely burnt out. So physician, cure thyself. So I'm making, it's not that because I'm sure people will turn around and say, oh, Paul, you're being a pompous prick who just always going on about reading. But the strength of my argument is I don't think most people who are really heavy readers suffer anywhere near the same level of mental anxiety or illness.
I agree with you, but I think that maybe you're overlooking the addictive nature of technology just because you're saying, I know the cure. And
Well,
so,
no,
you may
no.
know the cure. I know the cure as well. I know I feel better when I read things. And,
Right.
and I find passion and interest in books that I find, passion.
So is the
sparking.
answer, yeah, but my point still remains, why do people find the time for exercise? Because if it's a question of time or effort,
Well,
is it because the endorphin fix you get from exercise is much more quickly
Could be,
felt?
yeah, quick fix.
I suppose it's more of I can see the physical results, and also I can feel the results because I can see other people's maybe attraction to me as my body becomes stronger, fitter, more attractive. I suppose that would come into it as well. Whereas intellect is invisible 9 times out of 10. I don't know.
Yeah,
You tell me.
no, it's a good question, Paul. I think it might come down to the fact that the physical aspect is more valued now in society than the intellectual aspect.
I don't think it is. I don't think
You don't think so?
Physical aspect is at all. No, and I think that's even less so in this modern age where we sit at home and we're on our phones. And you're talking about going to the gym. I don't think that's as much as it was 10 years ago.
No,
5 years
James,
ago.
but it is an ideal that's still valued. I totally accept the vast majority of the population are couch potatoes like me. But the ideal, no one questions the ideal. If you see an Olympic athlete, no one says, well, I'm not particularly impressed with their body. You think, bloody hell, that's impressive. And, they've put a lot of work in. But there is a inverse
academics as well. I think people that are smart are are people that are admirable. definitely.
Well, no, well, except again, I take issue with that. So I'm not being Mardy. I'm just trying to get devil's advocate. But
Go on, be Marty. Go on, get in there.
there's people
Go
like,
on.
for example, Sam Harris, or there are people I can think of who are put forward as public intellectuals, who I find like. So I don't mean to pick on him because I've said before on my channel. I think on a personal, not that I know him, but he comes across as quite a decent bloke, Chris Williamson. But he's actually put forward. Some people view him as an intellectual. And I'm not. He's achieved much more in his life than I ever will. I'm not denying that. But he's buff as buggery. He's buff. He's put a hell of a lot of work into his body. And the knowledge he has is all geared towards productivity, management stuff, psychology type stuff, practical. How do you improve your life? And I'm sorry to reiterate it, but it just strikes me as quite ironic. He finds himself in a Mexican blood transplant unit. Because guess what? It hasn't worked out. I could have told him that and saved him a fortune. And yet people, and then people, the further level of irony is that people will still addictively tune into him for his influential lessons on life, knowing that he's ended up in a Mexican blood transfusion unit. So it obviously doesn't work at some level. And Jordan Peterson, 12 Ways to, sort out your sock drawer, whatever that book was called. He's emotionally dysregulated. When he cries when he talks and stuff.
Yeah.
He talks, his daughters, Michaela's talked about demons are after him and stuff. And again, people hang on his every word. And I struggle with the illogicality of people not being able to join up the dots. And it's fine for people to say, right, I don't want to read difficult books. Absolutely fine. But don't come whining when there's a mental health epidemic.
Yeah, but maybe it's a matter of pride as well. Like, on the intellectual side of things, it's very exclusionary because you're either intelligent or you're not. You're either, a PhD or you're not. Whereas I can go to the gym if I can be bothered. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what Peterson.
Yeah.
And,
is that psychological though, James? I kind of find some aspect that is maybe psychological and cultural, that people think, oh, it's gonna be too hard. This book looks too hard. I'll reach for the copy of The Alchemist instead, or Harry Potter.
But with James, sorry,
though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. But then again, I'm not accepting the excuse in the sense that nobody would accept the excuse. I'm out of condition because I'm a lazy bastard.
Yeah.
If I said I'm out of condition because exercise is too hard and I don't know how to do exercise and just came up with a load of excuses, people would quite rightly say that's bollocks. And
they do.
But people use excuses for not reading. No one said it's easy, but also it's not as difficult as people make out. And
neither's the gym. I think you're making the same point, just on the other end, the other side of the fence.
Yeah, but I've never heard anyone address the issue and say, but exercise, we don't judge exercise one way, but we do judge reading. Reading is difficult and elitist and snobbish, but going to the gym and having a finely tuned body is accessible to everyone, which actually isn't.
No.
There are barriers on both sides, but only one side gets viewed as snobbish, elitist, culturally elitist, all these things.
But then
and to give you one final example, and then you tell me why I'm wrong. The Premier League. In our country, the UK, the Labour government has basically tried to... It's launched an attack on private schools.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically against selection at school based on ability. Which again goes to this idea that everyone's the same intelligence. The Premier League is the most Darwinian institution in human history. The UK Premier Football League has the best paid players, billions of pounds in TV rights sold across the globe, because it is Darwinian. If your performance drops off for a game, you're in danger of losing your place. Your career at the very, very top may only last 3 or 4 seasons. And people absolutely adore that Darwinian element. No one's claiming, and because racially it's very diverse, they can't use the diversity excuse. So this is pure Darwinian selection at its finest, and everyone loves it. But when it comes to the mind, everyone has to be reduced to the level of the Alchemist, or else it's not fair.
I'm not sure I agree with you, because I would say, you could say that about any field, and you could even turn that on its head and say, I think you're saying it. You're saying that academia or intellectual reads are at everyone's fingertips, and they are. And but then again, you like the Premier League footballer. If you don't put the time in, if you don't make the energy, spend the energy to kick a ball against the wall, you're never going to develop those skills, that are in you, because I think it is a God-given talent. Much like, playing a guitar, anyone could pick it up and play it. But why would you? And again,
Right.
anyone could pick up a book, but why would you?
Can
Anyone
I
could
approach
learn
it from
these
a
things,
different
but why
angle
would you?
then? There was on my video I did about Dracula, I quoted a review that was on Amazon. And the reviewer basically said, I really like this book, but don't read the foreword because it's by some wanky academics who go on and on about Victorian sexuality and stuff. Whereas this other book just describes the Gothic nature, and that's brilliant. What I'm pointing to is I can give you specific examples of an anti-intellectual culture that resists interpretation, that resists background reading, because they haven't done it and they feel threatened by it. So let's slag it off. That doesn't exist in the world of exercise. So there's a mismatch.
I bet it does. Have you never heard of burpees?
No.
No, do
It's a
tell.
horrible form of exercise. No one wants to do them. It's just, I don't know. I think it's difficult for me to argue with you because it's difficult.
Well, I'm just asking for a recognition of the phenomenon. If you
I
don't think it
agree with you.
exists.
I agree with you. I think it does, but I think it exists and doesn't exist on both fields. I'm going to play every side of the fence if possible. I think there's an elitism in every form, in filmmaking, in music, in literature, in academia, and I think a certain amount of breaking into that has to be, God-given, for want of a better phrase, and a lot of it could be broken down with passion and stick-to-itiveness as well. So I think what you're saying is very valid, but you could say it about anything. You could say it about exercise. You could say it about anything.
Well, yeah, but there's one thing about being able to say something and conceptualize. There's something different about a general social attitude that you can point to and identify. So it's possible that these things could be said about exercise and stuff. But the life of the mind, literature, if you win a literary award, you're not on the wages of a Premier League footballer. So I can prove to you society values those two things markedly differently.
True.
Is there a cultural dimension, Paul? Is it even potentially, British, US culture maybe values more physical prowess, and I don't know, maybe Indian, Asian culture does see a value in the intellect. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I quoted in a previous video, there's a line in McLuhan where he talks about Edward Gibbon gave the Lord of, I think it was the Lord of Gloucester, was it? Duke of Gloucester. He gave him the second volume of his Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire had just come out. So he presented him with it, and this Lord or Duke Gloucester said, another fat damn book, eh, Gibbon? Scribble, 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 scribble. The point being, since time immemorial, the upper classes in Britain have been anti-intellectual. The lower classes have been anti-intellectual, but there are exceptions. There was the working men's reading groups. There were movements for working men to become literate. And this is the other thing. It's your point about it being cultural. There have been periods in trade union movement in the UK where reading and literacy were flourishing. And people read difficult things. So it's not a pipe dream that I think more and more people could have access. It's historically happened in the past. But there has to be a cultural will for it to happen. And my point is that cultural will, that cultural zeitgeist doesn't exist. No. People are either have a knee-jerk reaction against intellectualism or they think it's not for them. But there are barriers that historically, even when working men's clubs in associations in the 1800s and early 1900s had less facilities and power than the working class do today. And yet they got off their arses and made sure they educated themselves. So this idea that it's not about, some people lack access, I just don't think it washes if you look at it in a historical context.
No, I agree with you. I do agree with you. And I think Stu, when he threw me that lifeline of cultural, I grabbed hold of that one. And I went, yeah, ride me all the way. But
The rubber ring.
yeah, I could feel it. Like, oh, shit, jump that one straight. But I agree with you, Paul. But I think that does happen. I think maybe it's just so isolated that it's never going to be a blip on any kind of mass radar. But I think it does happen. I mean, I want my son to do well, and I'm sure Stuart, you're not like I don't care. Everybody wants the next generation to do better than they do, or at least I do. Coming from
I think in the language of like Gen Z, because there's obviously this trend now for something maxing. So obviously you've got looks maxing, which is the physical aspect. And I'm sure I've read
aced
recently.
that, Stuart.
yeah. A plus, Paul. There is like it's called like intelligence maxing or something like that. A very unoriginal title. And there's a lot of Reddit threads on online forums, TikTok trends that say, oh, you have to read this big list of very complicated books. So I don't know how big it is. I don't know how common it is, but I think there's definitely people out there in the kind of upcoming generations, younger generations, who do seem to value intellect. So,
all right, well, I'm trying to find a way to approach this differently. How about Jonathan Haidt's work on the anxious generation?
yeah.
So he's got a website and a research unit that's called After Babel. And the constant theme of the research him and his colleagues do is always about literacy and how the modern generation, because of technology, are losing literacy. Mental health is going down. These things are related. And his constant emphasis is social media and children brought up with screens. It's a unique point in human history where we don't know the full mental consequences. Now, I applaud all the work they're doing, but it's like they're fighting a rearguard action. So when I first found out schools are thinking of banning mobile phones amongst their students, high schools and stuff, I was shocked that they were ever allowed to have them in the first place. Who'd have thought that having a mobile phone in your desk all day might be distracting? It's so stupid. And I go back to, people might think I have a bugbear, but I'm not the one giving all these figures about mental illness. And I can't help but say, if the world is gadget driven, if the world is screen based, and there are respectable academics like Jonathan Haidt proving at least partially some of the correlation with excessive screen culture, the corollary to me is surely reading and appreciation of art and theatre and all these things, which human cultures had for millennia, that's suddenly gone out of people's lives. And what a surprise, people are feeling ill.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's hard, I'm trying to rouse debate, but I agree with you too much to really go into it, and I'm not intelligent enough to give you the devil's advocate. So all I would say is that in my experience with a young family is the sort of people more on the richer side of things seem to be, adamant that they are going to limit screen time. So I think, I wouldn't say better educated, but people that have more money are stopping their kids from, accessing those screens more than people that aren't as rich, in my experience.
It's like a class divide you've observed. Yeah.
And so I think that will be evident in the next 10 to 15 years, because I think you will have that subclass almost of, were you rich when you were a kid, or were you more affluent than the other person that was, going to school, like going to the different school or whatever. I think you're going to get those kind of blips. Maybe that's only a little blip. Maybe that goes away in a year's time, and it's all nonsense anyway. But I think I think people are aware more now than ever, especially with AI. I think people are even more aware that this is just not good for us. And so I hope that it does get better. I hope, because we're adamant that our little one is not just sitting in front of TV. But then I grew up like that. I grew up in front of the TV
Likewise,
watching
yeah.
cartoons.
We come home after school like 3:30 and watch TV right the way through till 7 o'clock if it was raining outside. But as we talked about the other day, Paul, yesterday, we still went out. If it was sunny, we still went out. We still got out on our bikes. You'd go around to somebody else's house to watch TV. You'd go and play in the garden. We had like a forest nearby, so we'd go in the forest. So there was that balance. It wasn't like TV every day.
Yeah,
A
I think where I was going with all this to bring it back to the Alchemist is, I think, as I pointed out at the very beginning, this Narcissus thing at the beginning, the ideology is actually in your face. Yeah. And I think why I resent the book, I'm trying to psychoanalyze myself, why I had such a visceral reaction to this book, is I think it's deeply, deeply anti-intellectual at its core. It's ersatz. It's like a probiotic health yogurt laced with saccharin. Seriously, it's low fat, and it sells itself as this health product when actually it's partially killing you. It's the dishonesty, it's the disingenuousness.
Yeah, definitely.
Intellectual poison dressed up as spiritual enlightenment.
So I think we could summarize perhaps by saying that The Alchemist is like bad yogurt.
It's not that good.
Yeah, it's like one of those health drinks, like one of those kombuchas. It says good for your gut, but then it's full of sugar, so it's bad for your butt.
I can round it off for you, even better if you want.
Oh, please do. That was terrible.
The Alchemist, it's shite. Good night.
Good night. Mic drop.
Right. Well,
it is bad.
On that scatological note,
I'd
like to thank everyone, and I will now stop these two puerile monsters. My Guinness is wearing off. I'm becoming all serious.
Oh, so no. Get another one down here.
We will see you all at some point in the future. Stuart and I are meeting. Was it next Thursday to do Proust again?
Next Thursday, yeah, Proust.
So all you Proust heads, next Thursday is the place to be. So take care, everyone. All the very best. Bye.
Bye.